Hello, wherever you are on the earth plane. I just got done a little bit ago with a really good Zoom call that I do once a fortnight, and it's lovely because it's a collection of people not just from the UK but in other places in the world. We have someone from California, there was a lady from Denmark, and there was a guy from Canada. It made me laugh. He's from Quebec, but I think it's very endearing the way that the Canadians pronounce Quebec as Quebec. I just think it's cute. And it's nice because everybody shares what's going on in their own lives, what the situation where each person is living, and just the general feel of what's happening right now on the planet. Also, lots of kind of positive stories about how people are creating the future they want and looking at solutions and everything. It's just really uplifting session. Sometimes it can be quite emotional and quite heavy because people are struggling right now. People are going through stuff, but generally it's a really good session. And I've been thinking about, well, I just thought I'd put some feelings up here. For quite a while now, I'd say a few months, I have the feeling that the the sticky in the arm thing is, I think most of them are inert or saline. And my feelings come about because I think if they wanted to get rid of us, they would have done it by now. Whether it's through that or through food, water, air, we all know that there's things we can't see. I mean, there's energy. We know that, I mean, you can't see in the air, but there's energy. Right now, I'm surrounded by Wi Fi. I can't see it, and I can't prove it's here, but I know it's here. So we know that they have technologies far in advance of what our wildest imaginations. So if they wanted to take us off, they could have done it. It would have been done already. I mean, if you have an ant's nest in your garden and you want rid of it, are you going to just pick off a few ants and think, right, I'll just leave the rest for now and they'll wonder where their buddies are? No, you won't do that. You'll get rid of the whole thing. It's not a very good analogy because it means destroying Mother Nature's children, which, you know, it's not very love and light, is it? But yeah, I think most of them are inert. I feel some of them had to have chemicals to induce illness to wake people up because when either we physically go through an illness or we see our loved ones going through an illness, that kind of makes us think, well, what are they putting in these things? And it will encourage us to do research. So I think some of them have chemicals in it that are designed to make us unhealthy. But then if you think about it, we are unhealthy generally anyway. We eat garbage, we smoke, we drink, we watch lots of stressful stuff. We have stressful jobs. We have just our lives generally inactivity. So it wouldn't be much that you'd have to put in it to make someone sick because I think a lot of us are at tipping point with illness because we are so filled with chemicals. Um, so I made some notes so I don't rattle on as I tend to do. But I think that some of the effects actually people are going through might be of our own creation. And I know that's a bit of a big thing for me to say, but when we think about the power of the mind, the placebo effect, I think it can work in the opposite way. So years ago, I tried homeopathy and it actually cleared up some stuff. And somebody said, "Oh, that's just your mind." Well, if my mind can help me do that, because I said I didn't care. I said if it was my mind that did it, great. I don't care because the symptom is gone. But if our minds can create the good stuff, then our minds can create the bad stuff. And certainly sometimes when we are not feeling well, um, and we focus on that and we get into that downward spiral of how we feel, whether it's depression or a physical illness, we can actually make ourselves worse, I feel, because the power of the mind is amazing. I don't even know it to the extent that I'm my own, but we are our own creator. And I have just kind of hit the tip of the iceberg with that, knowing that I am creating everything in my life. That's mind boggling. I can't get my human monkey brain around it just yet. But we are very powerful of what we set our mind intention. So if you're reading a lots of stuff about the fear and the fear of the disease and all that, and then also seeing things on the news that if you've had this, you can still get it. Well, you're going to bring that into your physical being. That's just a thought. And as I say, if Mr. Global wanted rid of us, he would have done it already. It'd have been just run, get rid of the whole lot. There's the argument that people will say, well, we need workers. Then I think that there would have been some way that they could have took all the people, say, over age of 25 off the planet. Then you'd have young people who are more malleable, and certainly the younger, the like under 10s, they are probably the most malleable, and then they will have very little memory of what freedom was or what parents were or anything. They will just know an existence of living in a government type environment. And I think the majority of, on that note, I think majority of the media and the government stories and things are designed to wake us up. And I realize that then there's the question of, well, why would these people be doing this? Because we're programmed this idea of good and bad. That's a human construct. And so we see that these people in the media and the government are bad. But if you think about it in terms of just of positive, negative, or imbalance, the universe just knows about balance. And right now, the Earth exists in a very high masculine energy and a lower feminine energy, and the universe and the planet wants to bring it back into balance, and humans want to bring it back in balance. We know in our hearts we want it in balance, and so sometimes to get it before it goes in that direction, we kind of have to get it that way, kind of put it out there, and I think that's what it's just hotting up a bit. And I believe that well, not all of it, I believe majority of what we see in the media is just to hot it up. So we go, oh no, we don't want that. I mean, if you have a population of people who are essentially enslaved, because we are enslaved, we don't think so, but we are enslaved. If you want them to not only just resist what they're living in, but actually create new and get back to this really healthy feminine energy and actually balance between the two, you got to give them a sample of what it's like to be even more of a slave and being more restricted and being more tied in. And you can't even breathe your fresh air, for goodness sake, right now. They're telling you you have to do this and all that, so you have to give them a taste of that to get them to wake up. And some people have woken up to that. So would people have woken up naturally? Don't know. We don't know. Um, so I just think that we've had this taste of this intenseness of, the slavery, so that people know they don't want it. And the universe at the end of the day just wants balance. Doesn't see good or bad, just wants balance. And if you think about an imbalance of your shadow side, you need to have a balance of your whole self. Your shadow side's a very important part of you, but you need a balance of it. You've got to do your shadow work, which I know I still have lots to do. It's not an easy job, but it's about bringing things into balance, because we have been programmed from day one to think that we're less than, and to think we're worthless, and to think we're unlovable, and all sorts of other stuff. But we got to sort that out and heal it. And then we bring ourselves back into balance. And that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment, is the majority of what we're seeing is not directly, it's not directly going to get us. It's just up here to get us to awaken to our own power, and the fact that we are creators, and the fact that we are beautiful beings of light. So you got to sometimes prod people in the right way in order to get them to realize that. So truth, and I think also with all this stuff, is when we recognize that there's some things out there that are not truthful, then we want to investigate more and find out what else is not true. So truths have to come out, and it's just the way it's transpired. I'm trying to think of how else the plan could have worked. I mean, if, let's say, Gaia somehow appealed to every human to, well, let's just take care of each other, let's take care of the planet, let's get along for a change. I mean, think about it. It's what people like Yeshua came here, Jesus Christ came here to say. Wouldn't it be great if we could get along for a change? And what happened there? So there have been ascended masters who have come into the earth plane time and time again to say, hey, let's just get along. And this, you know, they don't get the message to enough people. Well, if you want to get the message to enough people, you've got to kind of show them the worst case scenario. Just a thought. I have no proof to any of this. So I think that the fire has been lit to kind of get that energy up just a bit more. So we go, no, we don't want it, and we'll get it back down, so we can start our journey on to change and a much nicer way of life for all human beings and for the whole planet as well. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are on the earth plane. Namaste.